سيادة الوزير، كيف سيكون تحرك اليمن في المرحلة المقبلة نحو التحول الديمقراطي؟
كما أشار فخامة الرئيس عبد المنصور هادي في كلمته صباح اليوم، المعول الآن هو على مؤتمر الحوار الوطني الشامل الذي سيضع الحقيقة ملامح الدولة اليمنية الحديثة المدنية الديمقراطية. وهذا الحوار الذي سيمتد على مدى 6 أشهر بعد أن يدعى إليه. الهدف منه طبعا هو أولا النظر في الدستور وإعادة صياغة الدستور بحيث أن تبنى الدولة على أساس دستوري سليم ونظام حكم جديد سيتم فيه الاتفاق هل هو نظام رئاسي أو نظام برلماني. تعديل لقوانين الانتخابات حتى تضمن المشاركة وحرية التعبير للمواطنين في اختيار حكامهم عندما تجرى الانتخابات. وأهم من هذا كله أنا أعتقد هو معالجة القضايا والتحديات التي تواجهها اليمن، سواء الاقتصادية أو السياسية أو الأمنية. وإذا نجح اليمنيون، وأنا على ثقة أنهم كما نجحوا في إخراج اليمن من التحديات العام الماضي، أنهم قادرون على أن يتفقوا لصياغة المستقبل الذي يريده الشباب واليمنيون عامة في بناء الدولة المدنية الحديثة.
بالنسبة للأوضاع الأمنية، ما دمتم تحدثتم عن التحديات الأمنية التي يواجهها اليمن، مؤخرا استرجعت القوات اليمنية العديد من المعاقل التي كانت تسيطر عليها القاعدة. هل أنتم راضون؟
نعم، نحن راضون، لكن أعتقد أننا لم نقضي على القاعدة حتى الآن. أن هناك تحديات يجب أن نعمل المزيد لكي نحد من أعمال الإرهاب والتطرف في اليمن، وهي مشكلة عربية وإسلامية في حقيقة الأمر. هناك أيضا مشكلة القرصنة كما تعرف نتيجة الأوضاع في الصومال والتي تؤثر على اليمن. وهناك أيضا قضية التحديات الأمنية المرتبطة بالحراك في الجنوب الآن، لأن بعض عناصره اتجهت نحو العنف للأسف الشديد، بدلا من أن تدخل في عملية الحوار وتحاول أن تعالج مطالبها من خلال الحوار.
شكرا. بارك الله فيك.
Welcome to the land of the Golden Pharaohs and the legendary Valley of the Kings. Welcome to Old Cairo, where Jesus Christ found refuge, and Mount Sinai, where Moses received the Ten Commandments. Welcome to our beautiful Red Sea resorts and the romance of the Nile. Welcome to the holiday of a lifetime and 7,000 years of astonishing history. Egypt, welcome to our 7th
It was an extremely important meeting. The Secretary General recognized in his remarks earlier today to the General Assembly that there were a number of new leaders from particularly the Middle East and North Africa, but from around the world here at the General Assembly, first time. And so it wasn't the first time that the Secretary General had met the President, but certainly to welcome him here at the United Nations. What did they talk about? They spoke, of course, about the Arab Spring, the Arab Awakening, and the Secretary General's strong expectations that Egypt will continue to show the leadership that it has in this area. They also, of course, spoke about Syria and the Middle East peace process. But the Secretary General stressed that in general, when we're talking about what's happening in the Middle East and North Africa, you need courageous leadership of the kind being demonstrated by the President of Egypt. You need opportunities, for example, jobs and the dignity and human rights. And in addition, you also need strong institutions, the rule of law. So those were the main themes that I would say came across during the meeting.
In Syria, there is any details about Dr. Morsi plan, or he explained it to the Secretary General?
Well, typically we don't, from our side, so speaking for the Secretary General, I don't speak for the President of Egypt, but the Secretary General, of course, is aware of the Syria Quartet, if one wishes to call it that, and obviously the main aim here from the United Nations perspective is that any initiatives should be closely coordinated with Lakhdar Brahimi, the Joint Special Representative of the United Nations, and of course the League of Arab States.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And that's what we were condemning as well. Hi.
Well, first of all, the Prime Minister was instrumental in the whole report, and it has many specific recommendations. But I also believe that Norway has had an underappreciated role in changing the way foreign assistance is made. For example, when we work with Norway, I want to brag on you here, when we work with Norway on climate change projects, like on reforestation projects in Africa, unlike many countries, when the Norwegians pay tax dollars to foreign investment, that money goes into those countries. So if they say to me, will you help us to have a good climate change thing, I don't take any administrative overhead from the Norwegian aid program. I have to go raise the money from American donors. That is a good thing. Far better than a lot of these systems that see 35% of the money disappear before it ever reaches the country. So Norway has shown us the way. We just announced yesterday a plan to rebuild the healthcare systems and train them in Rwanda that has only 7% overhead for American medical schools for 2 years. Nothing like this has ever happened in the U.S. before. If Norway hadn't set an example and we hadn't proved it was possible, I doubt if I could have done this. So this agreement specifically is important because if you take the aid of Norway, the UK, which as I said, whether you agree with their economic policy or not, the Prime Minister deserves an enormous amount of credit because he refused to cut back international assistance in a time of great austerity. And the U.S. coming into this new system and bringing the dollars that it gives gave us the bargaining power to negotiate this lower price with buyers. And they wanted to do it once they realized that their volumes would go up enough so that they would still make a profit even by cutting the price in half. This is true all over the world. Poor people need medicine that cannot be afforded, even by the donors, at the price they're now selling. If you get volumes up, if you have an efficient supply chain, and if the payment is absolutely certain, we can do what we did in AIDS medicine and in malaria medicine in so many other areas. And this is a huge breakthrough. This is really going to save a lot of lives and change a lot of family lives, and for poor people in isolated rural areas that nothing else would have done.
Thank
So
you,
you
guys.
should be very proud. Norwegians should be proud. I think.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
8 years.
for the most burning and challenging problems in the world. And now you get the biggest
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
In this regard, what's your message to world leaders in this regard? You're raising money now after we've seen some countries come up with money.
That number one, we should not back away from these investments because, again, the global economy grows together. The wealthier countries will do better because they'll have more customers. You can't. The whole idea of market economics requires increasing the number of customers every year. This is a good investment. That's the first argument. Second argument is that while we're going through difficult economic times, more countries should do more like Norway and make sure that whatever they have to give actually goes to the target and is not siphoned off within the country of the donors. This is a huge step forward. What AID did supporting this and yesterday supporting that Rwandan mission, which they're paying for, with only 7% overhead in 2 years. And this is the wave of the future too. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Satellites are there already.